Hi, thanks for being here. Today we are playing Myth or Fact with Dr. Jeff Werber. Dr. Werber, thanks for being here.
As always, love to be here. Thank you.
Are you ready to
I am
tell
ready.
us what is myth or fact?
I'm going to do my best.
All right, let's get into it. Myth or fact, dogs have a higher chance of food allergies than cats.
That is actually true. That is a fact. Cats tend not to have many food allergies, dogs more so. But interestingly, I still think that food allergies in dogs are overrated. It is, everyone likes to blame right away on food. The experts say somewhere between 15, maybe 20% of all allergies are food related. The top culprits are things like chicken, poultry, I should say chicken and turkey for poultry, beef, and as far as the grains, corn and wheat. Now, not to say there could be other things too, but if you are suspecting that your pet has a food allergy, I would start with those and eliminating them. And how would you suspect food allergy? So it's interesting. There are certain signs that we see most often in food allergy. One is feet, chewing at the feet really badly, and the other ears. Okay, and lastly, muzzle, like they'll rub their muzzle along the carpet or against a wall. It's itchy. Now, having said that, let's look at muzzle, for example. It also could be an allergic reaction to the bowl.
Oh, wow.
Plastic, melamine, rubber, these hard rubber bowls. So I recommend the first thing to eliminate are those feed in pure stainless steel.
Okay.
Food and water. Ears, atopy, inhaled allergies can also be ears. So again, there's a little overlap.
Oh, interesting.
And feet licking, this is a good one. Dogs that are anxious. Think of sometimes feet licking as a thumb sucker or a nail biter. It's a release. They just feel good. And one of the ways I can tell the difference, usually dogs that are going after the feet, but they're not, you don't see saliva staining, you don't see any irritation, you don't see redness. It's just a soothing. They're just appeasing themselves, pacifying themselves. But to fight it, the thing to do is, you want to see your veterinarian and talk about the possibilities. You want to eliminate other things that are easy to eliminate. And then the choices are either do what's called an elimination diet, and that is you want to go to something that they've never seen before, something like bison or salmon or tilapia, rabbit, venison, kangaroo, proteins that have never seen before, and a grain that's something new that they probably haven't seen either. Remember, we talked about wheat and corn are top. The rice sometimes could be also up there. So things like, quinoa or barley, sweet potato. And so a lot of these weird foods, you might see, kangaroo and sweet potato, salmon and potato, or salmon and quinoa. You might want to try those. But the problem is, the most important thing, if you are going to do this, hopefully with the guidance, under the guidance of a veterinarian, you need to be really, really strict. You cannot cheat.
No treats.
No treats. Anything that doesn't have, because if there's one thing in the treat that they may be allergic to, then they're going to fail the test. And you're going to say, well, that didn't work either.
Right.
And there's some foods out there that are called hydrolyzed protein or zero protein. They use they take the proteins, they chop them up, and they are really non-allergenic or hypoallergenic, and that's good too. And the last thing that really confuses the matter, allergy testing, which could be good to identify household allergens, environmental allergens, and the pollens and the weeds, the trees, the grasses, the tobacco, the wool, the cotton, they are really not that accurate when it comes to food. So the only way to really evaluate whether it's a food allergy is through elimination. And it's not easy.
That was going to be my next question. Is there a test? So you can test, but it's just hard. If it is the food, it's hard to know if
Correct.
it's the food. Okay.
That is correct.
Good to know. Well, thank you for clearing that up. And I didn't realize that dogs have a higher chance of food allergies than cats.
Yes.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So myth or fact, your pet can become allergic to a food that they've been eating for years.
That is true. And that we just talked about the elimination diet.
Yeah.
So yes, you can get them on something they've never had before, and then they get better. Whatever they were eating, one of those ingredients was something they were sensitive to. So now you're going to stick with this new food because it's working great and they love it. Well, guess what? 6 or 8 months later, they can start developing an allergy to that one too.
Oh no.
Yes. So it does happen, but it takes a while. So as far as your elimination diet, it's okay to feed something, but understand there is a possibility that later on they might develop an allergy to that food as well.
That makes sense. So the best case, talk to your veterinarian and let them help you walk through this.
Correct.
Okay, Dr. Werber, myth or fact? Your pet will grow out of their allergies.
That is a myth. Now, can it happen? Yes. I had allergies as a kid. I was allergic to a lot of things, including, check this out, dogs, cats, horses, sheep, goats, cows, and hay.
No
So you
way.
can imagine being in vet school. Oh my God. Anyone knew that if they needed a Kleenex, go find Jeff, because I had my pockets, full of them. But I did outgrow allergies, and that can happen. When you get allergies very young in kids, when they reach adolescence, they can often outgrow them. I was lucky. That's what happened to me. But in animals, it usually is not something you would count on. So you need to control them. You never want to not seek help for your pet's allergies, because they get miserable. Not to mention all the other problems they can have through intense scratching and biting themselves. You know it's not good for them.
Right, and they can't talk to us.
They
and
can't
tell
talk to
us.
us. So see your veterinarian. There are treatments. There are a lot of really good treatments. There are flea control issues, things like that you can do. But don't ever rely on, I'm sure next season will be better. In fact, not only do they not outgrow, they seem to get progressively worse.
Oh, wow.
So you can have a dog or a cat that never had a problem. All of a sudden, they're 6 years of age, and they start showing signs of allergy. And then when that happens, just brace yourself, because it's going to get worse.
Okay, so consult your veterinarian.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for clearing that up.
Thanks.
All right, next, myth or fact. Myth or fact, scratching, licking, hair loss, and red bumps on skin are common signs of allergies.
Definitely true. And it could be any or all of the above. It's interesting in dogs, for example, there are certain areas of the body that will indicate what the allergen is. Okay, for example, if it's down in the rump, just above the tail, and I see a dog that's got a lot of hair loss and scabs and sores, I'm thinking fleas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If it's in the groin, on the belly, I'm thinking pollen.
Oh,
Okay. If it's feet, ears, I'm thinking food. If it's ears and the belly, it could be pollens. So at least you have an idea. Of course, there's going to be overlap.
Right.
It gives you a ballpark of what the offending allergen may be. These, and by the way, you can test for these. There are tests that can be done by a veterinarian or by a veterinary dermatologist to specifically identify what the allergens are. Now, cats, however, they seem to get something called miliary dermatitis, and whatever they're allergic to, it can present any other way. So unfortunately, with a cat, you don't really get much of a clue as to what the offending antigen is, but you just know it is. There's something
off.
in the life that they're sensitive to, but you can't tell where. But it is very true that those signs, and now also in treating allergies, it's very important to know, because of the fact that you will have redness, you will have scratching, there are going to be skin lesions. What is very common with this, secondary bacterial infection.
Yes.
So
Let's
if
talk
you
about that.
just treat the allergy, but you don't attack the infection, they're going to still scratch. And they say, no, doc, it wasn't that, because they're still scratching, and you gave me the allergy pill.
Yes. Or, doctor, I got rid of the fleas. Why is he
Right,
still scratching?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very important to know that you need to not only treat the primary problem, but when there is a secondary problem, you need to treat that as well. And what's so interesting, when you think about the offending bacteria that affects the skin in allergy, it's usually a bacteria. It's called Staph pseudoepidermidis. That is the normal inhabitant of skin. It lives totally peacefully with the dog. So why all of a sudden is it causing a problem? Because the dog, once they scratch the skin and break that protective barrier, or the skin gets inflamed, we call it erythema, and that barrier is now broken. Now those same bacteria that lived so nicely and peacefully with your dog, they're ready for the kill.
Yes.
And now they're going to attack. So it's very important. Again, try not doing this by yourself. See your veterinarian, but there are great ways, and there are ways to help our pets with allergies. And unfortunately, during certain times of the year, I would say allergic skin disease is one of the more common things that we as veterinarians are going to see.
Absolutely. And food's a part of that too,
Absolutely.
but that's all why you have to see your vet and
Right.
let them figure out the puzzle for you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Werber,
Thank
on
you.
Myth or Fact. You've cleared up a lot for us.
I'm glad I did.
And thank you all for watching. All of our featured care experts recommend and accept the CareCredit credit card, which is accepted at hundreds of thousands of provider locations nationwide. Visit carecredit.com for more information.